So I just want to elaborate a little bit further regarding the fact that you can only be in the midst of one spiritual cycle at a time. You might say, well, Demetra, I know I'm in the midst of an 80 cycle, let's say, because karma is biting my ass, right? I can recognize things that are coming back to me based on things I've done, so on and so forth. So I know for a fact I'm in an 80 cycle because I see the scales of justice becoming balanced. But my house number's 30, which is another number that indicates a spiritual cycle. Does that mean I'm in the midst of two spiritual cycles? Does that mean that only one is influencing my life? No, absolutely not. They are both influencing your life. But you just described what is the predominant cycle right now. What is the one that sticks out to you most? What is the one causing the most impact? That's your spiritual cycle. The rest are numeric influences. And you might add further, well, I just did some receipt numerology, Demetra. The number was 1250, right? Which is indicative of a karmic cycle, right? A different kind of karmic cycle because it's 50, not 80, right? It's a different energy. I'm confused now because I thought I was in an 80 cycle. And so now I'm confused. Which one is it, right? These are numeric influences, right? You have one primary spiritual cycle at any given time. The rest are numeric influences. And it's important that you pay attention to the numbers that are around it, right? You're talking about 12 energy. So then you're going to be able to pay attention specifically to your life as it relates to your own mental and interpersonal stability, as it relates to you trying to establish interpersonal connections, things of that nature. I have also never told you guys that spiritual cycles have to be long. Have I? So what 1250 could indicate? It could be a clarification, right? You might think you're in an 80 cycle. It could be the universe clarifying for you that no, you're actually in a 50 cycle as it relates to your interpersonal connections, as it relates to your health, as it relates to your mental stability, your interpersonal stability, your stability in general, right? They're similar, right? Be open and always ask Source for guidance. The universe speaks. Because all of these rules I'm giving you guys, I asked for guidance. I asked for insight. I asked for clarification because I want to give you guys precise instructions that work. And I've actually been thinking about it further, and I will likely be releasing a deck, a tarot deck, a numerology deck with my book. I think that would be very useful. I think that it would be a great way for you guys to truly tap into those energies yourself, right? In an additional way, right? Receipt numerology is profoundly useful. Being aware of the numbers, being able to recognize the numbers, and being aware of the signs around you and the numbers that are present in your life, that is incredibly useful. But I think it would be even more useful to be able to pull from a deck. But one more thing, let me elaborate actually here. And I go over this in my book, so forgive me if I didn't actually clarify this to you guys yet via video. So when we're talking about numeric sequences that contain multiple numbers that begin with the number one numbers are something that are very important when navigating your life because those are describing your own numeric frequencies, your own numeric resonances at any given time. If there are more than one number, if there's more than one number that begins with the digit 1, that's typically going to be describing either the resonances of multiple people that are associated in some way, shape, or form, or you specifically, your resonance is over an extended period of time. So when we talk about someone needing clarification, because let's say they do receipt numerology, and they get 1250, like I mentioned to you, but then the next day, they get 17, what's one I want to do? 1740, okay? These are spiritual cycles associated with those specific frequencies that this same being is going to embody in an extended period of time, right? We cannot embody more than one resonance at any given time, but we can certainly embody multiple resonances in a matter of days, right? At various times in the day, right? Depending on our thoughts, depending on our emotions, depending on our focus, right? So let me clarify that. Only one at a time, but that does not mean that they have to be long periods of time. So what 1250 is describing is someone who's dealing with karmic energies as it relates to how they're associating with others, how they're associating with the world, their health, right? Because all of these are two energies, right? Interpersonal connection, whether it's connecting to the world in general, hence health, or connecting to others, right? So when we're talking about 1250, we're talking about someone who may be having trouble establishing valuable connections because of the fact that they're enduring a karmic cycle. This could be someone that is having a hard time finding connections at all. This could be someone who is finding connections that are tumultuous and unhealthy because these are karmic connections, right? And they're pulling out difficult energies, especially because the total of this sequence is 8. But let's say the next day they say, I'm over it. I'm over these relationships. They're not working out. I'm going to focus on me. I'm going to focus on my inner work. I'm going to focus on doing my own shadow work, ego work, and inner child nurturing, trying to strengthen myself and sort out why I might be attracting the wrong kinds of people. You know what I mean? So that is going to be more so associated with the 40 cycle, right? Because 40 is the number of a shift in consciousness, a shift in awareness, right? Expansion of awareness. It's an expansion of that 4 energy, right? And then you have 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm not a mathematician, okay? I'm not a mathematician. So yes, I use my fingers to count, but I am a master numerologist. We can't have it all. But that sequence, 1740, totals 12, which is perfect. Why? Because we just talked about a 1250 cycle. That begins with 12. See how it connects for you and how you can get an increased amount of information from source when you put the dots together and pay attention. So what this is saying is that the further you dive inward, the more work you do on yourself, the more stability you're going to be able to start actually working on those connections in a healthier manner because you're expanding your awareness, you're expanding your understanding of stability, of interpersonal stability, of the way that you should be honing yourself in regard to how you have been relating to the world. You see how that works? You see how Demetra's number system is always right? And it flows freely? Okay, I just wanted to share that insight. All right, I hope that clarified. Now I'm going to go get some dog food for the girls. Have a good night.